And I'll start with some transparency. This was my very first Garth Brooks concert I've attended. I started writing about music for the Indianapolis Star in 1998. His last show prior to tonight in Indianapolis was at the Old Market Square Arena in March of 1996, so I missed that. And otherwise, I will admit that I wasn't trying to make my way to many Garth Brooks shows back in the day. So I came into tonight's show with three bits of perception, or baggage, if you will. One thing I remember from the 90s and those NBC specials he would do is the crowd noise. It always seemed improbably loud and sustained. I was always just thought, you know, that's canned, that can't be real. Another thought that was kind of the narrative for Garth Brooks in the 90s is that his high energy, flashy show was somehow harmful to country music. And then there was this mythical customer service that I learned about through the years, actually, here in Indianapolis. When I would talk to people who worked at Deer Creek in the early days, they always talked about this 1991 show that Garth played as part of the Deer Creek Music Fair, in which he essentially did a meet and greet for all 8,000 people after the show. At the end of the concert, he said, you know, if you want to come talk to me after the show, I'll be over here at the fence. And this afternoon, Garth and Trisha Yearwood had a press conference at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and I asked Garth about that, and he said that was kind of commonplace back in the day. They finally had to stop doing that, I think, at a Texas A&M show in the early 90s because they were staying so late at the venues for these shows that they were having a problem getting to the next day's performance. So those are my three pieces of baggage I brought into tonight's show. The crowd noise couldn't be real from those 90s TV specials. Garth is the architect of everything that's wrong with country music today that dates back to the 90s. And just, could he really be that good to his fans? So after tonight's show, I can report, yeah, it's a loud audience response that's sustained and deafening to the point that I felt like I was at an NSYNC or Backstreet Boys show in the late 90s, something I did not miss when I started at the Star. So the other thing about Garth and authentic or valid country music is time has treated his music very well, I think. Early out of the gate tonight, we heard Two of a Kind working on a Full House, which is just a blast of the ghost of Bob Wills, a great Western swing tune. Garth even did a Bob Wills-esque "aha" after the crowd sang the "Working on a Full House" portion of the song, and he came right out of that song and did "Beaches of Cheyenne." You can't get more country than that song. It had a weepy steel guitar part and a dual fiddle segment that was very effective. And finally, this thing about customer service is the real deal as well. And that's what's, if you didn't make it to tonight's show, or if you were at tonight's show and you're going to go to another show in this 5-show run over 4 days, every show is going to be different because of what Garth Brooks does in his encores. He basically turns the house lights on and he plays requests that people present via signs. So if you're going to another show this weekend and you want to hear a particular song, bring a sign that has your title spelled legibly and have some stamina in holding up the sign, and you've got a decent shot that Garth will play your song.